I am Ray, and one of the worst mistakes you can make when it comes to lust, it's a spiritual trap that many people fall into. And if you're not careful, it can keep you struggling forever. Don't look at these, look at me. Are you not listening to me? You have been fooled. These are not boobs. It is the face of judgment. Coffee. You see, there's a very interesting split in the spiritual community, and you could just say life in general. I'm just going to broadly categorize them as, probably spelled that wrong. There are those who renunciate, who run away from desires, who are trying to be completely non-attached to their thoughts, to their experiences, and especially to the sexual drive. And there are those who practice what you could broadly call tantra. Which one of these do you think makes more sense? You see, many religions practice celibacy, renunciation, denial of the flesh. And although there is wisdom in this, I don't think it really works. I think there are very few people on this earth who can successfully deny this animal body and it actually go well for them. Very few. And think about most people's mindset when dealing with lust. I'm attracted to this thing that I know it's not good for me, but I can't stop. So I'm going to try to run away from it, avoid it, struggle with it, fight it. But that doesn't solve the problem. I think this is one of the more damaging religious ideas that exists. Because, well, what do you get? You get Catholic priests and choir boys. Because the fact is that you have within you right now hundreds of millions of years of evolutionary instinct that doesn't care about your silly little moral belief system. It doesn't. Your instincts say, my will be done. And I don't care what you have to say about it. I don't care if you have, intercourse with a pig, literal or metaphorical. I don't care what you do. All that I know is that me, as the instinct, is going to be satisfied one way or another. And if you get in my way, it's just going to destroy the host. Because it doesn't care. Your animal body is a primal system. It's highly intelligent, but it's simple. The instincts are nothing more than neutral, fundamental drives, base level programming that serve a specific function. But what happens when you have hundreds of millions of years of primal power with nowhere to go, with nothing to do? You can look at it simply as energy. So if you got a lot of electricity, but you have nowhere to channel it, what's going to happen? Well, the electricity can become chaotic and destructive. And, well, now you understand sexual perversion. All of it. It's not that hard, it's not that complicated to understand why people do the things they do. Let's look at it this way. At the fundamental level, you have energy. And this is your creative power. Energy flows from source within you outward, through your body, through your mind, and out into the world. But one of the first layers that energy is channeled through is the body, and even more specifically, the instincts, the unconscious. So all animals have the same fundamental layers. Even the amoeba, wait, is that right? Oh, amoeba, that's what it is. You and the amoeba share the same layers. You and a jellyfish will have at least one layer in common. Humans and jellyfish share 60% of their DNA, supposedly, the same fundamental layers. Human beings are just more complex. So you got the reptilian layer, and then you have the mammalian layer, and then you have the human layer. We all got layers, like ogres and onions. The point is, the energy flowing through a grizzly bear, for instance, it's mostly being channeled through the instincts, the unconscious. So the bear has no free will. It's just doing bear stuff. But because we as human beings have a higher consciousness, well, things get a little bit tricky. Because now we're no longer a slave to our instincts, but now we can choose our relationship to them. For example, human beings have a default blueprint. Women find certain traits attractive. Men find certain traits attractive. But depending on our environmental influence, well, it's going to change a little bit. You're going to be attracted to your own unique style. You're going to desire your own unique things, even though there's an underlying blueprint that is universal. And the problem that happens is that if you go through trauma in your life and you find yourself with traumatized instincts, in this case, a maladapted sexual instinct, then what's going to happen is that this energy, imagine being channeled through a funnel or a maze or something like that. When it gets to this part, the instincts are going to force that energy downward into destructive ways. And it's going to create a lot of problems in your life. So in between this energy and instinct is memory. Our body remembers. So what happens if we have negative memory associated with the sexual instinct? It's going to cause us to direct that sexual power in self-destructive ways or destructive ways in general. Remember, energy is just energy. It can be used to create or be used to destroy. And you see, the problem is, especially with religious ideas, is that it just kind of tends to cause you to have a negative relationship with the sexual instinct. That's why so many religious people, they have a lot of shame and guilt around sex and sexual stuff, lust, desire. People are taught to be afraid. Well, because it's a powerful source of energy. But so long as you fear the sexual instinct, you will always have a negative relationship with it. And you will always be struggling with some kind of problem because the instinct isn't going away. It's not going away until the end of your life. Even when you're 80 years old, it might be less strong. It's still going to be there. So we do not have an option to avoid this. The only way out is through. Because if you try to repress your sexual instinct, if you try to run away from it, if you try to label it as bad, or if you have a lot of guilt associated with it, the sexual instinct is just going to come out of the darkness, grab you, pull you under, and do whatever it wants with you. And people experience that all the time in a million different ways. How often do you get possessed by things you have no control over? You do things, you don't know why you do it, but you do it, and you can't stop doing it. It's because we have an automatic system called the unconscious that takes care of everything for us. It beats your heart. It moves water through your kidneys. 99% of everything that we do is automatic. It's being taken care of already. So you should never, at least in my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, why don't you? I don't think you should get rid of lust. I don't think you should get rid of sexual stuff in your life. What I suggest is that you channel that instinct simply towards something higher, something better, something that's healthy. I like to say, every human being, but specifically men, every man has a T-Rex inside them. And we try to live in our fancy little societies, lock the T-Rex in a cage, and neglect it. We don't give it an outlet for expression. Because, the T-Rex is scary. We wouldn't want to scare other people, make them uncomfortable now, would we? But what's just going to happen is that the longer you keep that T-Rex in a cage, eventually it's going to break out and eat you. And this happens to people every day, all the time. How many people do you think get washed up in prison for life or die because they didn't properly channel their instincts in a healthy, productive way? It's happening thousands of people every day. Think about, a survival instinct. I got no money. I got to go rob someone. You go rob someone. You accidentally kill someone. You get shot. Because that survival mechanism possessed you and forced you to do things that were not productive. Same thing with sex. Same thing with power and control. If you really got to be at the top of the social hierarchy, when you step on people's faces as you climb up, well, then eventually someone's just going to come along and rip you down. Because you cannot channel your instincts in negative ways without negative repercussions. You see, lust is a very powerful force. And, you might want to ask yourself the question, do I actually want to get rid of this powerful force? Or can I use it for my own benefit instead of my own self-destruction? And this is the trap that many spiritual people will fall into, because on the spiritual path, we are told to detach from all of our desires. And a lot of people think this means getting rid of your desires. And it does not. So if you're under the assumption that, I got to get rid of my desires, I have to be free from them. Well, guess what? The desires are there anyway. So your paradigm in which you're living will not sustain itself to the truth. Meaning, that the way you're trying to live and the way that reality is not aligned. Because as a human being, you have endless desires. And so you, in the attempts to get rid of them, is only going to cause you frustration. And what I've found, and this is my lesson that I learned recently, not too long ago, and that is, well, when you're really detached, you have no motivation or desire to do things. And this happens to a lot of spiritual people. You go on the path, you start doing the spiritual practices, you become free, you experience some peace, but now you have no motivation or desire to do anything. Because you're already content and satisfied in the present moment. And so you're just sitting there wondering, like, okay, is this it? Is there more to this? And from what I can tell, there is more. And that is, when you're first on the spiritual path, or when you're really into it, and you're really going all the way, you're going up. You're going up toward God. And that's the whole mission. Let me go fly high toward God. Let me be free. Let me go to heaven. I like heaven. So that's what we do. But what happens when you find heaven? What happens when you become free? Now what? Is that it? You figured it all out, you won the game of life, now it's all over. Wait just a minute. The fun has just begun. Because now that we're up here, time to go back down. You become free first. And then in a way, you reattach yourself to this world. Meaning you don't want to be just so high and flying that you're so disconnected from everybody else. So you can't relate to them at all. Nobody knows what you're talking about. You try to talk about spiritual things. Everyone thinks you're crazy. You become a normal human being again. Like you were in the very beginning. But now you come from a place of freedom. And wisdom. And spiritual realization. And what you do. And you can change this idea of lust to just be desire. Because that's what it is. You gotta take this desire and channel it towards something higher. Some kind of vision for your life. And you see what happens is that on the spiritual path, you become free and you stop thinking about the future, really. I mean, I don't really think about the future all that much. But I recognize the importance to have a vision for your life. Because I could just sit here and live spontaneously. Not think about the past for a moment, not think about the future for a moment, but you kind of drift through life. And life kind of just takes care of you as you go along. But there's no intention behind your experiences. There's no intention behind anything that you do. You're just living. But when you have a vision, when you have some kind of thing you're striving for, you have direction. And you can have motivation and desire toward that thing. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to channel this energy in a direction. Because if you don't have a direction to channel your energy, it's just going to go all over the place. It's going to go down the path of least resistance, which is going to lead to addictions and wasting time. The problem is that we differentiate lust as its own kind of separate thing. But it's not. Everything is all the same energy. It's all the same desire. It's all the same creative power. Sexual energy is the same thing as creative energy. There's no difference. But if you don't have something creative to work on, guess what? It's going to go down to the easiest path. Because again, the energy is there. You can't get rid of it. You got to do something with it. You have to have something to desire. Something to want. And well, think about how tricky that is for people on the spiritual path. I thought we were supposed to be getting rid of all of our desires. What's going on here? Now you're telling me that I have to have more desires? Being free is up. Being human is down. You are not more spiritual because you're free and you think about spiritual things all the time because you're high. You are most spiritual when you can balance the paradox between heaven and earth. You want to be completely human, completely in this animal body, and at the same time transcendent. And that is what Jesus meant when he said, be in the world but not of the world. You cannot get away with being imbalanced. If you're too much monkey, you're just indulging all the time in temporary pleasures that don't mean anything. And if you're too much Buddha, you're just floating off in space, enjoying the heavenly delights. Which is not a bad thing. It's better than being a monkey, but still imbalanced. But those who learn to manage both, those are the ones who are truly holy. The name of the game is, can you be in touch with this power? Almost like letting it possess you fully, and at the same time being non-attached to it. It's the same idea like, oh, you can meditate when it's nice and quiet and you're out in the mountains, or you're, put your meditations on, your earphones. Good for you. Can you meditate in the middle of a busy city where there are people walking by, pushing you? There's noise everywhere, taxi cabs. Can you meditate in that environment? No? Well, then you got work to do. It's easy to be at peace when nothing is happening. Can you be at peace in the middle of a storm? Can you be at peace while also being fully alive and human? And you see, the thing that helps me not get stuck in a spiritual trap that a lot of people fall into is that I live in a state beyond good and evil. Which means I don't allow good or evil to direct my life. At least, there's no psychological drama going on, like, oh, I gotta be a good person. If I do this, then I'm a good person. But if I don't do that, or if I engage in something bad, then I'm a bad person. All just irrelevant. I do not live with a big list of should and should nots. Because in my perception, that blinds you from the truth. It causes you to be attached to your beliefs. And your beliefs shape the way you see reality. So you don't know whether or not something is true, or whether or not it's just true because you believe it. Your entire reality is being filtered through your beliefs, through your thoughts, through the stories you tell yourself, through your identities, through the person you believe yourself to be. But what happens if you can take a step back and get out of that storm, that psychological drama of trying to be a good person, trying not to be a bad person, trying to do the right thing, and you just observe life objectively, without you in the way, well, then you stop labeling this as bad. It's just energy, it's just desire that's been funneled into a negative direction, at least for most people. So you don't fall into the trap of, oh no, I'm getting caught in this storm and it's possessing me and it's the enemy is attacking me and I'm experiencing all these problems. Why can't I stop? You bypass all that nonsense and you quickly see the solution. It's just energy. Find somewhere else to direct it. That is all. Don't get caught in the golden chains of morality, beating yourself up for doing the so-called wrong things. But rather, use this power because it is very, very strong. So why would you just waste it? Why would you throw it away? All it is possessing you in the wrong way, causing you to do self-destructive things, but you can also just channel it into a better direction and it will possess you in a more positive way. And this is why you will see. This always comes out when you're bored, when you got nothing to do, because whether you like it or not, the energy must be expressed. And if you don't have some way for that energy to be expressed, it's just going to manifest itself in destructive ways. So in a way, not doing anything is not an option. Something will be done, but you get to choose what will be done. Now, a big part of this is simply just using up that extra energy. And that is called sexual transmutation. So guess what? You go to the gym. Some of that energy has been dissipated. It's not going to possess you as much. Maybe you have some kind of project, some creative thing that you're working on. You channel this energy into that, and you create art. But no matter what, something must be created. Because this desire is the life force itself. So normally the sexual instinct is designed to, procreate. But if you don't spill your seed, if you're a man, that creative power turns in you and gives life to you, the greatest version of yourself. Semen retention must be at the highest priority because it's literally your God power. And without it, you will be weak, a slave. And this is what makes this so fun, because it's not something you can just push aside. Life is forcing you to do something. It's putting pressure on you. So you can't just relax. And that's a good thing, because if you could just relax and not worry about it, well then, you would just drift through life and not do anything, have no motivation, have no desire. So see these things as a blessing. See the problems and the struggles and the addictions as a blessing, because they are forcing you to change that which you would not do on your own. Because if you would have done it on your own, life wouldn't have to do it for you. So life is constantly speaking to you, hey, use this wisely. And if you don't use it wisely, bad things are going to happen. And you do not have the choice of not doing anything. You got to do something. Because if you do nothing, that itself is a choice. And it's going to lead you in negative ways, probably. What you want to learn how to do is sit with this power without reacting to it. Because if every time you train your body to react when this comes, you're going to just stay stuck in unconsciousness. What you will see is that the power itself feels good, and you want to hold on to it. You don't want to lose it, because the moment you lose it, you feel weak, you feel drained. So you want to hold on to this power as long as you can. You want to make it as strong as possible and still be able to remain unfazed. Now, how powerful is that? Most guys can't handle even a little bit of this without getting pulled all over the place. But imagine being able to control this power without it controlling you. And this is the name of the game, self-mastery. And both the renunciate and the tantric are going toward the same outcome, they just have different ways of approaching it. You can receive sexual mastery from renunciation and also from tantra, which is what I'm explaining now. Instead of running away from it, you use it. You dive deeper into it. You use it as your spiritual practice. And this will bring a lot of relief, because you'll no longer be pushing this thing away, trying to run as it's hunting you down, like a little goat and a T-Rex. You as a little goat, no matter how hard you try to run away, T-Rex runs like 30 miles an hour. Probably not the best analogy. But when you can kind of just relax and surrender and realize that, oh, this is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just bad because I'm judging and labeling it as bad so much. Because there's uncomfortable feelings. Because there's negative outcomes, negative consequences. And so naturally you would avoid it. But if you can stop the psychological drama and feel that energy, feel that power, stop running away from it, stop judging it as bad, be with it, love it, well then this energy, this power stops being destructive. Because what is happening is that you're running away from life. You're rejecting it. Whenever we go through difficult times, or when we struggle with addiction or problems, we judge and label life as, this should not be happening. I am doing something wrong. I need to do something right. I need to change this. Life needs to change. And that psychological drama is what causes all the problems. Because you enter into resistance to life. And only when you enter into a state beyond good and evil can you say, oh, wait a minute. My judgment of this is not helping me. It's making my life worse. It's neutral. It's just energy. It's just power. You give it meaning by the way you judge it. All the great human beings since the beginning of time had excess of this. Excess desire, excess lust, excess passion. And that drove them to do great things. And without this, you can be free spiritually. You can live a great life, but you'll probably not do great things in the world. You'll probably just enjoy your life. And that's okay. But what you will see is that if you can transmute this energy to some kind of higher purpose, this will give you a deep sense of meaning in your life. It's going to make you feel alive. You're going to be like, I wish I could feel like this all the time. And when you're detached so much, you'll be like, I don't really feel like doing anything. I mean, I'm at peace, I'm satisfied, but there's no drive to be alive. Or there's no intention. And this is the one problem I realized that's been going on probably since the past, year or two, is that being is an expression of the king and queen. And what that looks like is that, well, you're just kind of silent presence, which exudes authority. You command your reality, and you're just relaxed in your big seat, chilling. But the warrior is all about passion. It's all about doing things. You're on the battlefield. You're killing enemies and bad guys. This is like, sitting behind a desk. You're in charge, yes. Everything's good, yes. But you're not in the action. And this can kind of kill desire in some ways, because the king and the queen have everything. They have nothing to desire. The warrior has something to strive for, a mission, a goal, and therefore it is imbued with life force, with power, to reach that ultimate vision. So we want to be able to balance these things. If we're too much warrior, we're not going to have peace. We're going to be pulled all over the place. Too much passion, it could destroy us. And too much king or queen energy, not a bad thing. It's just there's not going to be as much action. And again, this is what Jesus meant when he said, be in the world, but not of the world. Be in the world as a warrior, or simply as someone living their life. Be involved in what you're doing. There's nothing wrong to be. You can be attached because the warrior really wants their outcome. But at the same time, you can tap into freedom. You can tap into peace. You're not a slave to doing things. You're not a slave to the material world. You have tapped into something greater. So this is what I mean by coming back down. You become free, but then you return to the world. So take this divine power that you have and learn how to wield it. Think about in Avatar, The Last Airbender, if you've seen that. You're trying to bend the electricity, move it through your body and shoot it out. But if you don't learn how to do this, guess what? As you're trying to channel the energy, the electricity, it's going to be not fluid. It's going to destroy your insides. It's going to zap you. And so the trick is to flow. Allow this energy to flow and express itself. Don't resist it, because it's just going to go in you and bzzz everything around. Give it healthy expression. Stop with all the religious paranoia and the guilt and the shame. Forget about it. Stop trying so hard to be good. Be real. And being real means you're a human and you have desires. And you have attachments. And you have things you want to do which are probably not good for you. Doesn't matter. Be honest. And that is the problem I think a lot of people face. They're not honest with themselves. They have something that they desire, but they suppress it because of what other people might think, or maybe what God would think. God would not want me to be doing this. Stop trying to predict what God is thinking, or what other people are thinking. Doesn't matter. Do it for yourself and make your own judgments. Because until you make your own judgments about your own reality, you're going to be following thoughts and ideas and beliefs that you don't actually know are true or not. Like, for instance, the idea of sex before marriage. Great idea, in theory. Again, your animal instincts do not care about what you think. No matter how strongly you believe in whatever it is you believe, they do not care. They're not interested in what you have to say. You are not getting an opinion. The instincts say, you will do what I tell you. They're like gangsters. You're going to do what I say. That's it. Forget about it. The reason people talk about no sex before marriage is because the point is, this sexual power needs to be directed in a healthy way. It needs a safe, healthy container for it to be expressed. That is what marriage is supposed to be. Now, it's not realistic nowadays, because 60% of people end up in divorce. You're just going to end up marrying the wrong person out of religious guilt and then have to deal with the consequences later. When in reality, you can just practice channeling this energy by yourself because that's a safe environment. You're just with you. And you got to learn to get in touch with your body, with your energy. That is essentially what Tantra allows you to do. It allows you to experience yourself through connecting to your power, to your energy, to your instincts, rather than running away from them. Or if you get into a relationship with someone else, and it's healthy, you're not toxic, you're not ruining each other's lives, that too is a safe and healthy environment for that instinct to be expressed. That's all that matters. And here's the thing, if you have perversions, meaning the sexual instinct has had some time to be directed in these unconventional ways, you need to find a healthy outlet for this as well. Someone who's not going to judge you. Someone who themselves is experiencing the same kind of things. And of course, religion is going to tell you, hey, stop being a pervert, because it's wicked, bad. Slap on your cheeks. But what I say is, stop running away from the darkness. You have darkness. We all do. We have evil. Face it. You gotta channel it. Because, we've been talking about desire and lust, but evil is another kind of energy. Darkness is just another kind of energy. And if you don't have a healthy outlet for that darkness, It's going to consume you. You see, the darkness, when it is contained within the light, you could say that's perfection. It's balance. It's okay. It's not a problem. Because your wickedness, your darkness is contained within a healthy environment. But if you got darkness, and the overall relationship is also darkness, it's just death and destruction for everyone. Toxic relationship. You cannot channel your darkness into an unhealthy relationship because that will destroy both of you. So don't judge the darkness as bad. Don't judge it as wrong. Not even the perversions. Because just like desire, the darkness needs to be expressed. You can't run away from it. If you try to repress the darkness, it's just going to come out from the shadows, pull your strings without your conscious awareness. And again, that's why you see a lot of perverted religious people trying too hard to be good, trying to pretend the darkness is not there, not dealing with it, running away from it, fighting it. The darkness just says, you thought, now I'm going to force you to do something you don't want to do. So all of your darkness, all of your wickedness, I don't believe that is the right thing to do to try and get rid of it. Because in your attempts to try to get rid of it, you are also rejecting reality. You're rejecting the truth. Whatever this darkness is, it is a part of who you are in this physical form. And if you deny that, well, you're denying yourself. And when you deny yourself, you can't be at peace with yourself. You'll always be fighting an inner war, inner conflict, frustrated, struggling against yourself. It's like in Dexter. You ever watched Dexter? He's a serial killer. He calls it the dark passenger. He's got this dark evil spirit in him that is trying to be expressed. It's very powerful force. Now, if Dexter was just an evil person, it would be dark. He has this darkness, and he's expressing it through a dark and negative vehicle, meaning he just kills whoever. But why is Dexter so interesting? Because he kills the bad guys. He kills other serial killers. So his darkness is being channeled in a healthy way. Now, of course, he's still killing people. But this is the human struggle. Wouldn't it be nice just to get rid of the darkness and all your evil? And you wouldn't have to worry about it. Then you can live in peace. But that's not how life is. You are made imperfect. You have darkness. You have evil. That has to be dealt with. And the quicker you deal with it, the quicker you face it, the quicker you can accept yourself and stop beating yourself up. And then guess what? The best news is that you can still express your darkness. Those fantasies, that which society tells you is wrong. But instead, you channel them in a way that is healthy. You give them healthy expression. You let the T-Rex out of the cage. You give it some goat, and you just let it walk around. You don't want to let it go destroy the city, but you don't want to keep it caged up either. Until you learn how to handle dark energy, you are always at risk for self-destruction. Because the darkness is literally the force of destruction. But when you learn how to wield this power, you become immune from it. It's like if I'm a fire giant, you throw some fire at me, not a problem. You become a channel for the darkness and the light. And guess what? You enter into inner harmony because of this. Because the light and the darkness are no longer fighting each other. You've accepted both aspects of yourself. You've accepted the part of yourself that wants to do better, that wants to strive toward heaven, do the right things. And you've also accepted the part of yourself that just wants self-destruction, who just wants what I want, and I want it now. And once you can handle both of these aspects of yourself, you can share it with another human being. Because other human beings are also struggling with the same thing. We all need expression for our darkness. And without it, trouble. And you have to be careful, because this is one of the most dangerous paths of the spiritual journey. Simply because the nature of what we're dealing with is so powerful. Dealing with electricity, thousands of volts. So there's going to be a lot of mistakes, there's going to be a lot of pain and suffering. But the more good you get at handling your own darkness, not only do you become more powerful, but you experience relief, peace, freedom, because you're no longer holding on to this idea that there's something wrong with you. And you could probably see why that's the source of much religious suffering. Because religion is always telling you, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong, do this is right, do this. And so you're kind of always just this uptight, nervous, anxious, oh, I gotta do the right thing all the time. And then, of course, you gain wisdom and realize, oh, well, I'm just a human monkey. I'm supposed to be imperfect. All good. You see, the darkness makes life interesting. Why would you want to get rid of it? It's a source of great power. You just don't want to be consumed by it. That is all. Embrace the truth of what you are. That you have light and you have darkness within you. That you are also imperfect. That you're also going to make mistakes. Accept that it's all part of the journey. It's all there for a reason. And that in you, judging life, judging these certain things about yourself, saying, this is not right, this is wrong, this should not be here, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Life has been lifing since the beginning of time, if not before. Don't you think that life knows what it's doing? You take too much responsibility. You forget that it's just one divine intelligence evolving itself, so attached to this individual separate human form. Not realizing that life is just kind of flowing and unfolding and taking care of itself. The divine intelligence of everything is flowing through you. It knows exactly what you need. It's already calculated an infinite variety of variables, trillions of possible variations of how you could go about your day every day. And life says this is the way it needs to be right now. And you can either accept or reject that. But, who are you? Let's just say life has been going on since the past 14 billion years. How old are you? What do you know? This is why surrender and acceptance and trust and faith, they're so powerful. Because instead of living as this separate individual who thinks they know it all, you merge back with life itself. You surrender yourself to merge back with life, become one. And now life can effortlessly just kind of guide you throughout your life, even with the addictions and the problems and the struggles. The difference now is that you're not struggling psychologically with it. You're not beating yourself up, judging yourself as wrong. But you can just work through your experiences. You can work through your darkness. You can strive toward the light. You can do what you need to do. And you're not so much reliant on these philosophical ideas and these thoughts and these beliefs and these stories. It's beside the point. There is you and there is life. And life is guiding you. Which means that whatever happens in your life is there because it needs to be there. And the only way in which we can see that this is true is to go through the experiences and reflect. And you will see that the bad times, the struggles, the problems, were shaping you in a way that you could not perceive at the time. And it is only because of our judgment of life, of our experiences, that we are blinded from the truth. We don't understand that the darkness and the light are equally important for wholeness, for the truth, and that to say darkness is better than the light, to say that dark is bad and the light is good, well, guess what? Logically, it makes no sense. Emotionally, it makes perfect sense. We don't want to see bad things happening. We don't like the darkness. We don't like death. We don't like chaos. And yet both are equal. Because they're the same thing. Darkness is just the opposite of light. They're two polarities of the same one thing. So you can never separate these. And the mistake we make as human beings is that we prioritize the light above the darkness. And that is, some religious conditioning, obviously. But this is why I'm so fascinated and rooted in Eastern philosophy, like Hinduism. Look at this necklace. Rudraksha. Because the Hindu gods do not have a clear distinction between darkness and light. Look at Kali. Kali is the divine mother. She is both represented in her demonic, ferocious form, the killer of men, where she's got some blades and heads all over her. To the Western mind, she is a demon. But we struggle with religious superstition. The Western mind only knows separation. Jesus is the good guy, Satan is the bad guy, God is the good guy. Everything else that humans try to do on their own is not the right way to do things. Good, bad, light, darkness. Our Western minds are rooted in this separation. The Eastern mind is not. The Eastern mind is closer to unity. because it's older. Hinduism is the oldest religion. And so the figures in Hinduism have a dark side and they have a light side. Kali is also the nurturing mother who gives us nourishment in our life and protects us every moment. And well, she's also the one who destroys those who are not worthy. And if you can't think for yourself logically, like a normal human being, you're going to judge things on the surface and say, oh no, dark is bad. Dark is bad. And that causes people to get stuck in the golden chains of morality. Not being able to see life clearly. Not being able to take a step out of your own beliefs and your own thoughts. To see the truth. We sacrifice the truth all the time for our own silly little beliefs. Just look at nature. Just look at life. Look around you. Everything is always trying to destroy you. At least in the wilderness. In the jungle. But within it all, there are fruits God provides for us. With one hand God gives, and with the other God takes. Life and death, dark and light. And it's so funny. You see religious people all the time. Hey God, I really like your right hand. It's very nice. But then in the same breath, they look at the other hand and say, oh no, I hate that part of you. I hate that part of you, God. Why are you like this? In a way, we've killed God by making God too holy. When in reality, God is both the darkness and the light. You cannot get rid of one without the other. That is why God said, or in the Bible, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and I am the end. I am the creator and I am the destroyer. And once you begin to understand this, you will see that God was always in control and that you were placing too many burdens upon yourself. God was the one pushing you down, driving you to engage in addictions and problems and struggles, getting you to be consumed by the darkness. And at the same time, God is also the one trying to release you from it, to bring you up, to help you out. And what is required is that we as human beings can stand in between, the middle way. It's like the yin yang. You got darkness, you got light. You want to walk this fine tightrope, this fine line. And if you can get out of the way by not being attached to either side, by being free, by realizing that the good and the evil, the darkness and the light, the ups and the downs, it's all part of it. It's all necessary. It's all good. Well, then what will happen is that when you go through these dark times, you're struggling with lust, struggling with addiction, struggling with these strong desires, you will stop labeling them as bad, and that will make all the difference in the world. Because imagine if you were holding fire in your hand, and you were really concerned about how bad fire is. Oh, fire is dangerous. It's destructive. We can't be having this. Well, then guess what you're going to do? You're going to be like, you're going to be all over the place. You got fire in your hands. But what happens when you just relax, for God's sake? You can hold the fire in your hand and not react. And now that you're not reacting, you can use it. You can channel it. You're not a slave to it anymore. And that fire is passion, it's desire, it's lust. We all have our own unique karma to deal with. And that karma is not always good. And so no matter what happens in your life, it's all your spiritual practice. It's all you and God working through your own stuff. And when you find yourself indulging in self-destructive behavior, in lust, well, you can just ask yourself, God, what do you want me to do here? What's going on? Do something. Just open up a dialogue with God, with life. It doesn't have to be formal. Talk to God like you would talk to anybody. Except you're just talking to the divine intelligence of everything. And it's like you're not just living in this life randomly, doing random things, trying to figure it all out. You're here for a specific reason. And you could say that is to work out your karma, your unique predicament. And so you enter into this life. And all along the way, God is guiding you in working out that karma. But you gotta get out of this mindset of being too attached to good or evil. Because when you do bad things, you're gonna say, God, I'm doing bad things. I'm sorry. And that's okay. It's good to repent. Just don't allow the shame and guilt in. Don't allow the fear of the consequences, the fear of whatever, and realize, instead of like pleading for your life, oh God, forgive me, please. You stop reacting so crazy and you just say, if this is happening, it's because God is trying to show me something. It's because I got something to work out through this problem. There is some information that I need to know. There is some identity that needs to evolve or needs to change. So you stop getting caught in the guilt and shame spirals and you start living from a place of curiosity. You embark on a journey of self-discovery. Because as you go through these dark times and difficult situations and struggling with your addictions, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And you're going to grow a lot. And if you can see the utility of suffering, if you can see the utility of the problems and the addictions and of the lust, then it becomes a lot easier to deal with it, to manage it, to direct it in more positive ways. It allows you to work out your karma that much quicker. Because the more you're wallowing in suffering, woe is me, I'm doing such bad things, such a terrible person, you're completely getting distracted from the whole point. That is, this situation is designed for you to work through it. And if it was not designed for you, it would not happen to you. Because, again, life is just one big divine intelligence evolving itself through an infinite array of different forms. It knows what it's doing. It knows that all of your personality and all of your traits require this specific experience. So God, as the divine orchestrator, orchestrates these scenarios, these experiences for you to go through. And it changes you in the exact way you need to be changed. And it can take 10 people, throw them all together in the same exact situation, and it will be exactly what they need, all of them, for their highest spiritual growth. Because, again, there's only one divine intelligence puppeteering the different forms. So itself says, oh, I need to do this through this form. I'm going to go over here. And, oh, this form needs the same thing. So I'm going to drive them to go over here, and they're going to meet. And when the two people meet, they change and evolve and grow. But sometimes what that looks like, it looks like it's going down. It seems like you're getting worse. Sometimes. But there is never really such a thing as down. Like this. No matter what happens in this life, you are always going up. But guess what? This right here, this down, this can be a whole life. Your whole life could just be miserable and die. And then you might ask, oh, what was the purpose of that? Well, you don't realize that you continue on. And that through the horrible, terrible death, you burned off a lot of karma, you went through the ringer, you have evolved spiritually. So no matter how bad it gets in this life, there will always be good on the way. All of this to remind you not to judge yourself, not to judge life, to realize that life is taking care of you, no matter how bad it seems, that you just need to get out of the way, stop judging yourself, stop labeling things as bad, as wrong, allow life to take you, and do as it pleases, because life knows what it's doing. And we do not. So enjoy the ride. Enjoy the contrast between going down and then going up. Struggling with addictions and then becoming free. Struggling with negative thoughts and then being free, having peace. Dealing with lust, having it almost destroy you, and then learning how to channel it to something higher. To being stuck doing nothing all day, engaging in addictions, to building your vision for your life, having some goals. You go on the spiritual path, you try to find freedom. Yay, you found freedom. Found God. Now it's time to enjoy the process of going back down, being human, dealing with human emotions, having relationships with other people, being in it and not so detached that you don't feel anything at all. Keeping your heart open. This, my friend, is playing the game of life. Playing it well. Becoming a master alchemist. Learning how to transmute the darkness into light by channeling it into something higher. Not running away from your darkness or your evil or your wickedness, but through your struggle and wrestling with it, you become greater. Because all of your struggles, the problems, the addictions, the lust, the desires, they're all placed within you for your highest spiritual growth. I am Ray, and if you're struggling with lustful thoughts that are causing you much misery, and you don't want to spend years wandering aimlessly, check out Mastermind Mastery. Click the link below. Much peace and many blessings. And remember, just be